Another team hoping to do much better than last season, Manchester United. Back page of The Sun, we're back. Carrick says his side have found a spine. This is interesting from Carrick. The added central midfielder Yuri Tielemans, of course, to his spine of goalkeeper Lahrmann, centre-back Maguire and skipper Bruno Fernandes. Ian, do you get that sense as well, that they've got a resolute Premier League ready small group of players that are ready to prove themselves and are ready to improve this Manchester United side?
Yes and no. I think they've had a decent summer so far. It's interesting that Carrick talks about the spine, because I know what he means, and every team needs that kind of spine. But they kind of had that last year. I mean, the three of the four players you mentioned were there last year, and obviously Casemiro had a great season in the centre of midfield. He's gone now. Kobbie Mainoo had a resurgence, although he had a disappointing summer of doing nothing with England. So he had that spine already. Look, I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm going to the depth that I talked about that Arsenal have got. That's what Manchester United are building towards. You know, Carrick did a fine job last season, in the half season that you had. But I made the point on this programme many times and in print that he did what he did on the back of one game a week for the best part of 6 months, because United weren't in Europe, they weren't in the domestic cup competitions. They are in Europe this time, and they would expect to be in the domestic cup competitions for a bit longer. Much bigger challenge, needs a much deeper squad. Yeah. They've gone some way to getting that right. What I would say is that they will need some of those players that we've just mentioned. We will need those players to stay fit, because there are certain players in that team, Fernandes being one of them, who are pretty much irreplaceable. If they keep key players fit, they'll have half a chance. I don't think they'll challenge for the Premier League title. I don't think it's a deep enough squad. I don't think there's enough quality there. But I think they can have a progressive season if they keep players fit, and if they do the couple of deals that they're trying to do between now and the end of the window.
Well, speaking of squad depth, they have added another player in Brighton's Carlos Baleba. That deal has been agreed between the two clubs. But Martin, what Baleba are Manchester United getting? Is it the Baleba from a couple of seasons ago that lit up the league, or from last season, who was pretty lacklustre and struggled for much of that season?
A move won't come much bigger. For all of that decline under Alex Ferguson, Manchester United are still one of the 5 biggest clubs in the world. This should inspire him. A move didn't happen 12 months ago. The psychological effect of that can bring a drop in performance. He goes to Old Trafford. There is a bit of bounce to the club. Michael Carrick had a good end to last season. The likes of Cunha and Mbeumo were good signings. Tielemans should be another decent sign as well. We wait and see, but it's potentially a really good signing. An interesting.
Though, with the breaking news we've already brought you this morning, that Tottenham have agreed an £85 million deal with Manchester City to sign Savinho. Tottenham have agreed that £85 million deal, which is made up of initial guaranteed £75 million plus £10 million in add-ons, and 5 of those add-ons are bonuses that are believed to also be guaranteed. So we understand the player is set to undergo a medical with Spurs this morning. Unlikely that he'll be registered by the midday deadline, so probably won't feature this weekend. And Spurs do remain in talks with City over a separate deal for striker Omar Mamouche. So they don't look like they're done yet in North London. A reminder that we are with both Roberto De Zerbi and Enzo Maresca this lunchtime on Total Football. So we'll get their thoughts on this deal and that potential Mamouche deal as well then. John, what do you make of that? I mean, it's a staggering deal. It's a hefty fee, isn't it, for Savinho? And you think Manchester City paid just over £30 million for him 2 years ago. So his value's doubled.
Yeah, good business, I think, from City's perspective. And particularly when you think that all the talk was of a double deal with Mamouche rolled in. So for him to go on his own for that kind of price tag, it's expensive, but Spurs have finally got their man.
They certainly have. And where do you see him fitting in to this Spurs lineup?
Well, I think, they've been very logical as they've built the team with the transfers starting at the back and strengthening again in midfield with obviously Tonali. So they've prioritised those areas, but it's clear that they need a little bit of creativity, and they're hoping that Savinho is the man who can help supply that creativity.
Do you think De Zerbi is the man to turn his sort of career around? Because he has spent a lot of